Okay, so I have created a little AI auto culling app for Lightroom. The idea is just to really simplify the process of culling and give, I think, a little bit of a reduced workflow when it comes to culling massive amounts of images, especially at weddings. So let's just get in here and I can actually show you how this works now. Right, so first you start off in Lightroom, and what we do is we have to basically load all the images, create a new catalog, and then you want to build your smart previews. So I've already built the smart previews for this, but once you've done that, and that's basically everything that is needed for the app. So now that we have that, and then from there, we can open BetterPicks, and we will open that app, BetterPicks. So it's going to first process the Lightroom catalog file. And that can take, depending on how large the Lightroom catalog file is, anywhere from, I don't know, 10 seconds to maybe a couple of minutes. Should just take a second here. Here we go. So here's our interface. It's got all of the thumbnails loaded. They're all going to be loaded by file name. And the reason for that is it has to do with the grouping. So looking at the interface here, first thing that we want to do is click Analyze. We can see that there's 482 images in total. While it's analyzing here, it should take this is about 500 images. On my Mac Studio, it takes, you can see here, maybe a minute or two to actually analyze the images. And it's going to be looking for a few things, looking at people, looking at cameras, overall image similarity, and the time between images shot. So we also have some options here. We have grouping threshold. So basically ultralight or ultra tight, sorry, means that you're going to have very small groups and keeping a lot more images. Now, the idea of the app and the way I designed it is when you group the images based on, how large the groups are, and that's like how similar the images are and how, as well as, the shot time between the images, it's going to first without these options here, first it's going to pick just one image. So now that we've got our groups here, you can see it's going to pick one image per group. So let's do a medium grouping here. And so you can see, well, there's maybe 7 images in this group. So they're pretty similar. If we go loose, then that means we're getting into much larger groups with less similarity. All the way up to highlights only. Highlights only is basically, all of these are in one big group now. So you can, you can see that's 24 groups out of 482 images. The idea is to kind of use somewhere around medium or loose, I think, for most. So that's 155 groups. Right now, we've got everything kept. We haven't culled anything. So first thing we're going to do is click cull, and boom, that's instant. So we've culled out 327 images. So we've kept 155 images. So it's going to keep minimum always one image per group. And it's going to find what it feels is the best image based on first of all, the sharpness, if the person's looking at the camera, if eyes open are the biggest priority. And then from there, what you can do is basically say, okay, I either want to, because sometimes we'll, shoot, okay, guys, let's look at each other after having, a portrait of a couple of people looking at the camera, or we'll intentionally have people looking away from the camera. We don't always want those instantly rejected. So we've got an option to keep both looking away and looking at camera. So if I do this now, it's going to add, you'll see another image per group, a second image, if it's detected that there's another image where there's the subject looking away from the camera. So in this case, we've got this one here looking away from the camera. and looking at the camera. So that now gives us kind of those two versions. So if we've got, okay, guys, looking at the camera and now looking at each other or looking away or whatever, get a little high five or handshake. Now we're keeping both of those. So the idea between, sorry, the next option is to distinguish between uh, also keeping a portrait and a landscape version if it detects both. So, for example, in this group here, we've got uh, looking at the camera, we've got looking away, but there's also landscape and portrait images. And, sometimes we just want to have that variance as well. So let's make sure that we're keeping, uh, if there are two different orientations, at least one of each. So you can see that's added now. And up here, it's added as well. We've got both a portrait and a landscape version of everything here. So the idea is, you're working in thumbnails and you can change the thumbnail size if you want to see more in the groups or less. Sometimes groups can actually get pretty large, but you kind of got to focus on how thick the gray bands are here, because let's find a larger group. If we go into a larger group, you can see like it just extends the larger gray band. So like here, it kind of takes up double the space here. So now if we go to, but let's say we want to modify it. We're like, you know what? I don't want this one. I don't like this guy's finger in his face. You can click the one beside it that you want. You can take a look at, the information isn't great just yet, but you can see some of the information there as far as the sharpness score and everything. You can see this one has a risk to top edge. That means obviously there's a cropping risk on this. And basically it's taking all of this into account when it's making its decisions. So let's say we are happy with our choices here. Or not, like you can work in this as far as you want, but let's say you basically now are ready to start working in Lightroom. And the idea is, like I said, not to do all of your culling for you. I don't think any AI app is actually going to be able to replace a human being when it comes to choosing which images. But the idea is we want to at least get a better kind of starting point. So, yeah, you can do the work in here, hey, I want a full length here. It didn't choose any full length. Um, you know, you can do some of work really fast in this as far as doing some of the additional culling and everything. But when you are ready to actually work in Lightroom, the next thing that you do here is super simple. All you do is save to Lightroom, and it has now saved that Lightroom catalog file. It's written all the flags to it. So now we've got basically everything marked as we left it. Sorry, that's my little MIDI plugin there. So you can see now it has just flagged all the reject photos as rejected there, and it has kept the ones that we have kept basically. So you can see it's not kept this one because his eyes are closed, but yeah, so that's basically it. It just gives you basically a better starting point in terms of the culling. It's not going to, like I said, the goal isn't to have this do all of your culling for you. It's just to get you to a simpler, faster culling point, no monthly fee or subscription or anything. It's really quick. And instead of 482 images, we are now down to, let me just see, 210. So that makes life an awful lot easier in terms of, going through and knowing that you've basically got a better starting point, and you shouldn't really be missing anything in terms of your overall, best images. So you see in these group shots, there's still quite a bit there, but yeah, usually group shots, you're going to shoot a lot more and keep a little bit more. Anyhow, that's my little AI culling app. And yeah, hopefully I can flesh this thing out into an actual proper good full app. And yeah, I got to really decide on a name. BetterPicks for Lightroom. I don't know. We'll figure something out. Anyways, cheers.